Welcome back to Timeline Divergence. Picture yourself standing in front of a gleaming metallic vault. You have finally done it. Humanity has cracked the fourth dimension. You step inside, calibrate the dials for exactly 100 years in the past, and press the ignition. You close your eyes, bracing for the grand reveal of a bustling cobblestone street from the early 20th century. You take a deep breath of triumph. Then you open the door. But there is no street. There is no sky. There is no air. There is only the suffocating, pitch-black silence of the cosmic void. At negative 270 degrees Celsius, your blood boils and freezes in the exact same second. You see, the greatest lie pop culture ever sold you is that time is a static highway. People forget one fundamental, horrifying fact about our reality. The Earth does not stand still. Right now, the ground beneath you is spinning at 1,670 kilometers per hour. Simultaneously, our planet is hurtling along its orbit around the sun at 108,000 kilometers per hour. And if that is not enough, the entire solar system is plunging through the Milky Way galaxy at 720,000 kilometers per hour. In just one single hour, the Earth moves over 1,300,000 kilometers through empty space. If your machine only moves backward through time and fails to calculate the absolute, terrifying mathematics of spatial translation, you do not arrive in history. You arrive exactly where the Earth used to be, millions of kilometers away from a planet that has long since moved on. People think time travel is a history lesson. In reality, it is a cosmic sniper rifle, and you just shot yourself into the void. You might think traveling to the future requires a glowing, radioactive portal. It does not. The future is shockingly easy to reach. In fact, Albert Einstein handed us the blueprints over a century ago. It is called time dilation. Time is not a universal ticking clock. It is a fabric, and it bends. If you board a spaceship and accelerate to 99.9% of the speed of light, or park your ship near the crushing gravity of a supermassive black hole, your personal clock slows down to a crawl. You could watch the universe age 1,000 years outside your window while you merely finish a cup of coffee. But here is the catch. It is a one-way ticket. Going forward is easy because you are just falling down the river of time at a different speed. But you cannot swim upstream. You are a ghost stepping into a graveyard of everyone you ever knew. Going backward is an act of war against reality itself. To travel to the past, you cannot just move fast. You have to fundamentally break the universe. Theoretical physicists have proposed a few methods, and every single one is a cosmic nightmare. You could try to build a wormhole, a literal tear in the fabric of space. But to keep that tunnel from collapsing and crushing you into subatomic dust, you need something called exotic matter. This is a substance with negative energy. It does not exist in our observable reality. It is matter that falls upward, matter that actively repels gravity. Or perhaps you build a Tipler cylinder. Imagine a tube of matter infinitely long, spinning on its axis at 1 billion revolutions per minute, dragging the very fabric of time along with it like a spoon stirring a cup of thick, dark honey. If you fly a ship around it in a precise spiral, you might just slip backward into yesterday. But you cannot build an infinitely long cylinder, and you cannot harvest negative mass. This is not a technological limitation. This is a deliberate design. This is what we call the temporal quarantine. The universe treats the present moment like a sterile laboratory, and a time traveler from the future is the ultimate pathogen. If the past can be changed, causality shatters. The universe prevents this by making the energy requirements for backward time travel either infinite or entirely paradoxical. The laws of physics are a heavily armed immune system, actively designed to isolate us, ensuring that cause always precedes effect. If you want proof of this merciless quarantine, look no further than the greatest mind of our generation, Stephen Hawking. On June 28, 2009, Hawking threw a lavish, brilliant party at the University of Cambridge. There was iced champagne, balloons, and an elegant spread of food. But he sat in a room completely alone. Why? Because he did not send out the invitations until the party was already over. It was a reception specifically hosted for time travelers. The logic was flawless. If time travel to the past is ever invented, Whether in 100 years or 10 million years, someone from the future would uncover the invitation in the historical archives and have the exact coordinates to show up. Hawking sat there, waiting. He watched the door. No one came. That empty room is the most terrifying, silent answer the cosmos has ever given humanity. It was not just a failed party. It was a mathematical proof. We are trapped in the present. The universe has locked the door from the outside, and it swallowed the key. You have watched the movies. You think stepping out of a time machine makes you a god among mortals. You imagine pulling out your glowing smartphone to predict solar eclipses, uniting empires, and becoming a wealthy king by inventing the steam engine 1,000 years early. Let us pull you out of the cinematic fantasy and drop you into the mud of the brutal, unsterilized real world. You would not be a god. You would be a biohazard. Imagine you land in a bustling European city in the year 1340. You take a deep breath of the wood smoke and manure. You clear your throat. You cough just one time. Congratulations. You just wiped out the entire continent. Your body is a walking biological weapon of mass destruction. You carry microscopic, dormant strains of modern influenza, common colds, and mutated viruses that your 21st century immune system easily suppresses without you even noticing. But to the medieval peasants surrounding you, their immune systems have absolutely zero defense against your future microbes. You are patient zero for a super plague that makes the Black Death look like a mild seasonal fever. But let us reverse the roles. Let us assume you wear a sterile mask. Let us assume you do not infect them. They will absolutely slaughter you from the inside out. Your modern, pampered body has entirely lost the rugged, ancestral genetic memory required to survive the ancient world. You are accustomed to pasteurized milk, heavily chlorinated water, and immediate access to antibiotics. If you take a single sip of water from a wooden tavern cup in the 15th century, or eat a piece of slightly undercooked meat at a royal banquet, you are dead. Untreated dysentery, cholera, and ancient parasites will tear through your fragile digestive system in a matter of days. Your grand, heroic adventure across the fabric of time ends not on a golden throne, but dehydrating in sheer agony in a muddy medieval ditch. Now picture yourself somehow surviving the microscopic warfare. You stagger into a village square. You need help. You try to communicate. You speak modern English. To anyone living before the year 1500, you are not speaking English. You are speaking a demonic, guttural gibberish. You sound like an absolute lunatic. Historical societies did not have therapy. They had the Inquisition. You panic. You pull out your smartphone to show them a map, hoping the glowing rectangular glass screen will prove your superiority. You show them a photograph of your family. They do not see a technological marvel. They see dark magic. They see human souls trapped inside a demonic mirror. In an era driven by extreme superstition and religious fanaticism, you are not a prophet from the stars. You are a heretic. And the historical protocol for dealing with heretics is not scientific curiosity. It is the pyre. And if you happen to be a woman or a person of color, the past is even more unforgiving. Your life expectancy in most historical eras drops from days to mere minutes. The past is not a charming tourist destination waiting for your arrival. It is a meat grinder, and you are just throwing yourself into the blades. There is a universal, unoriginal fantasy that unites humanity. Everyone believes that time travel is a financial cheat code. The plan is always identical. You step into the machine, leap back a few decades, memorize the winning lottery numbers, invest in the right garage startup, and wake up as a billionaire. But wealth is not a vacuum. Wealth is a highly monitored, fiercely guarded ecosystem. First, consider the physical currency. If you carry a suitcase full of modern bills back to the 1920s, you are carrying useless, highly suspicious paper. The serial numbers have not been printed yet. The security threads and watermarks are alien technology to the banks of the past. You are not a wealthy investor. You are instantly arrested for mass counterfeiting. But what if you use knowledge instead of cash? In the year 2003, a story leaked onto the internet and terrified the financial sector. A man named Andrew Carlson was reportedly dragged into a dark interrogation room by federal agents. Why? Because he started with a measly $800 and turned it into $350 million in exactly 2 weeks. He executed 126 consecutive, extremely high-risk stock trades. Every single trade was mathematically perfect. When pressed by authorities, he claimed he was simply a time traveler from the year 2256. That story was eventually exposed as a satirical hoax, but the underlying lesson is a chilling reality. If you go back in time and perfectly manipulate the stock market, you do not get a private island. You get a black bag pulled over your head. Governments and financial watchdogs do not ignore statistical impossibilities. They hunt them down. Unexplained, godlike foresight does not make you a financial genius. It makes you the prime suspect of global espionage and insider trading. You will spend the rest of your temporal vacation in a concrete cell, being interrogated by agencies that do not officially exist. But let us move past the stock market. Let us look at the modern holy grail of time travel greed. Imagine you are sitting in a dimly lit room in the year 2009. The cooling fan of your heavy laptop is humming. You are mining Bitcoin. You are there at the very genesis of the blockchain. You know that in a little over a decade, each digital coin will be worth tens of thousands of dollars. So you get greedy. You run multiple servers. You hoard thousands upon thousands of coins, while the rest of the world is completely oblivious. You are hoarding the future. Here's where the simulation breaks. Bitcoin is a decentralized network. It is a delicate house of cryptographic cards that relies entirely on thousands of independent computers verifying each other to build trust. It is a global bloodstream of digital commerce, and it only flows if no single entity controls the heart. But you hoarded too much. By accumulating massive amounts of early computational power and digital coins, you accidentally cross a fatal mathematical threshold. You now hold over 51% of the total network. You just triggered a 51% attack. The system algorithms instantly detect that a single unknown entity controls the absolute majority of the ledger. The trust evaporates in a fraction of a second. The early developers and tech evangelists, seeing that the network is centralized and hopelessly compromised, abandon the project entirely. You starve the ecosystem of the very oxygen it needed to grow. The digital empire you thought you were building crumbles before it even begins. The price of your massive wallet does not skyrocket to $70,000. It plummets to absolute zero. By trying to own the timeline, you completely erased it. You did not mine gold. You burned down the bank. History is often taught as a series of grand, inevitable destinies. People generally believe that kings conquer, empires rise, and eras shift because of cosmic necessity. That is a comforting lie. History is actually a terrifyingly fragile house of cards, built on the edge of a cliff, in the middle of a hurricane. Consider a sunny day in June 1914. A chauffeur driving the Archduke Franz Ferdinand takes a single, mistaken wrong turn into a crowded alley in Sarajevo. That split-second error puts the car right in front of an assassin. A gun fires. A man dies. Because of that one wrong turn, the First World War erupts. Germany is crushed into poverty, setting the perfect stage for a furious dictator to rise, igniting the Second World War. That catastrophic global conflict eventually brings the American military to Japan, carrying with them Western comic books. Those cheap comic books inspire local Japanese artists, birthing the entire anime industry. A chauffeur turned the steering wheel to the left instead of the right, and decades later, a multi-billion-dollar global entertainment phenomenon was born. Now imagine you go back and tell that driver to go straight. You just erased millions of lives, shifted national borders, wiped out technologies, and deleted entire cultures. You did not just save an archduke. You detonated a temporal nuclear bomb. But let us say you do not care about the grand scale of the world. You only care about your own bloodline. Picture yourself traveling back in time. You track down your own grandfather, decades before your parent is even conceived. Out of malice or pure accident, you push him off a cliff. Here is where human logic completely fractures into a nightmare. If your grandfather dies, your parent is never born. If your parent is never born, you are never born. If you are never born, you could never build a time machine, travel back, and push him off that cliff. Therefore, he lives. Therefore, you are born. Therefore, you go back and kill him. You are trapped in an infinite, screaming loop of existence and non-existence. Or consider the bootstrap paradox. Picture yourself walking into a dusty garage in the 1970s. You hand a young inventor a pristine, fully functioning smartphone. He reverse engineers the glass screen and the silicon chips, releases it to the public, and changes the world. Years later, you buy that exact model of smartphone, step into your machine, and hand it to him in that very same garage. Who invented the technology? The answer is no one. The data simply exists, suspended in a permanent circle, born out of absolute nothingness. It is information without an origin. The universe absolutely despises a paradox. It will not allow a fragile biological creature to break its fundamental coding. To protect itself from you, the cosmos employs two terrifying defense mechanisms. The first is the Novikov self-consistency principle. This theory states that the universe is strictly deterministic. Destiny is real, and it is a prison. If you point a gun at your grandfather, the mechanism jams. A bird flies into your line of sight. You slip on a wet rock. Or, in a cruel twist of cosmic irony, your violent attempt on his life is the exact event that puts him in the hospital where he meets your grandmother. Your rebellion against the timeline is the very thing that cements it. You are not the author of history. You are merely its puppet. The second defense mechanism is even colder. It is the many worlds interpretation. When you step out of that machine and change a single atom of the past, you do not rewrite your own timeline. Your original world continues exactly as it was, completely unaffected, with your friends and family wondering where you disappeared to. Instead, the universe violently splinters. You instantly create a brand new, parallel universe, a secondary orphan timeline. You did not save your world. You simply abandoned it to play God in a counterfeit reality. If the universe is a locked vault, why do we keep seeing ghosts in the machinery? Why do we cling to the fragments of stories that suggest someone, somewhere, actually made it through? In the year 2000, a man named John Titor appeared on internet message boards. He claimed to be an American soldier from the year 2036. His mission? To travel back to 1975 and retrieve an IBM 5100 computer to fix a catastrophic system error in his future. He provided technical schematics of his machine and issued chilling warnings about a second American Civil War and a third World War. When his prophecies failed to materialize, he simply invoked the many worlds theory, claiming his very presence had diverted our timeline. He vanished as quickly as he arrived, leaving behind a digital ghost story that refuses to die. Or look at the famous photograph from 1941, taken at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in Canada. Amidst the suits and fedoras stands a young man who looks entirely out of place. He wears a printed t-shirt, modern wrap-around sunglasses, and carries a portable camera that seems decades ahead of its time. For years, he was hailed as the definitive proof of a temporal tourist. But history, as always, is a cold shower. Research showed the sunglasses were available in the late 1930s, and the camera was a portable Kodak model of the era. He was not a time traveler. He was just a man with a style that the rest of the world had not yet caught up to. These stories are not evidence of physics. They are evidence of the human heart. We are a species obsessed with the exit door. We are desperate to believe that our mistakes are not permanent, that we can go back and unbreak what we shattered. But the science tells a different story. Time is not a road for you to walk upon. It is a massive, indifferent digestive system. It consumes the present and grinds it into an unchangeable past. It does not tolerate interference. It does not offer second chances. So, we return to the beginning. Imagine you are standing before that metallic vault. You know the physics will likely kill you. You know your body will become a plague. You know your wealth will evaporate, and your actions might accidentally erase your own existence. The machine is humming. The dial is set. Knowing that the universe is actively trying to stop you, would you still press the button? Thank you for exploring the simulation with us. If you want to dive deeper into the branches of what could have been, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next divergence. Until next time, this is Timeline Divergence.